Hello, this is Mike, NoStressMike.com. I talked a while back, made a video talking about foreigners. What foreigners is a bad word or something like that. And and like I say, I've been pretty much by myself since I've been here. It's hard to, like I say, in the way of foreigners, there are no foreigners. And now after saying that, let me kind of clarify. Uh, uh, there are foreigners that are living here in Kunming. Most everybody here is they're teachers. Most everybody's teachers around here. And when they have projects like the tunnels, we're talking about the tunnels, we're on the bullet train. I come to find out a lot of the engineers and stuff that do all this stuff were foreigners. A lot of foreigners, they bring in foreigners to do a lot of the stuff. And I'm thinking, well, why don't they have all this? I thought this is what, China's got a big, long history. And one thing that I found out is the idea, the attitude of foreigners. And they find a foreigner here in China, they find foreigners as a threat. Now, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But the thing is, my family, I'm half Chinese. In the United States, my family is Chinese. They came from China. A lot of them are pretty much dead now that came from China. The ones that are left were born in the United States. Like I say they're 50s, 60s years old. And but you can definitely tell the difference between me and them. And the thing, and they reminded me of that when I was being brought up. And I was never, I don't even know the words to say it, but like part of the family. I was never have I been part of the family. I say my mom, she was killed when I was 5 years old, leaving my dad to raise me. And I feel really sad for my dad because he must have went through hell having a half-breed kid like me and not able to speak Chinese. Right there, they say if you don't speak Chinese, you're not Chinese. So right there, they already had a thing against me. But the one thing that I always had going for me is I work. I do a lot of work, and I love business. So I've been getting into business, and all the Chinamen, my family, they were always, I wouldn't say amazed, because a lot of times they were jealous, because I should be the weak one of the family, and I'm not weak. That's one thing I've never been accused of. And now I come here, they treat me the same way, and I thought, what's going on here? So now I realize, that's why I'm saying I'm not sure if it's in the genes or not, but the Chinese have a thing against foreigners. Now, I find I'll tell you what's weird. One of my translators was a young college guy, and he's fixing to go to the United States, and he can speak English, and he's the one that really brought it to my attention. And he was telling me, he says, because I wanted to go here, I want to do this, I want to do that, and she says, it's a foreigner is the one that will do that stuff. And what did I want to do? I come here looking for a wife. I came here wanting to do Hoi Chi. I wanted to show my Chinese medicine, and see if that's really what it was. And so, I mean, I wanted to go to the hospital, to the universities, and when we go there, and I would say I want to go talk to them, and you say, well, they'll talk to you. You know, they let me in and talk to them. And he says, well, that's just because you're a foreigner. If I came in here wanting to do this, they wouldn't spend no time with me at all. But because you're a foreigner, then they do that, you know. And so he's got this attitude, and I'm thinking, and he's studying something to do foreign. That's why he knows English, and that's why he's going to the United States to go to school, you know. And he hates foreigners, and he's going to do all this, you know. I don't understand. And I didn't ask him because, like I say, he could watch in his attitude. He was only with me for 2 days, and like I say, he would in his translations, he would, for one thing, he didn't translate. Translate when I say something, you say the same thing, you know. And you might have to ad-lib on some of it. Yeah, I understand. But he would make decisions when I say something if he should say that or not. You know, wait, you know, I think you're missing the whole idea. You know, you're on my payroll and you're supposed to be translating, you know. And like I say, a young man, just say what I say. Don't try to make judgment because you have no idea what I was talking about. One of the things was, remember I talked about I would say, do you like I do the shock and awe, and that's when I would say, do you like pandas? And everybody, you know, why? Because we're not even talking about pandas, so it's a shock when I come up with something like that, you know. And then, you know, well, yeah, you know, and then I give them the copper panda, and then it's, oh man, it's amazing. So there's a reason for doing this, and so then I say, well, ask them if they like pandas, and then he'd say something, and they didn't react properly, and I said, did you ask them if they like pandas? And he says, everybody likes pandas, you know. And I said, okay. Ask them, do you like pandas? I know that translates into Chinese. And so he didn't like it. And so that's one of the things, that's why he only lasted 2 days. He's since I'm a foreigner, I'm ignorant. I'm stupid. I don't know anything goes on here in China. You know, so why should he listen to me? Whoa! So, and the thing is, he wasn't smart enough to realize there's a reason why people are polite and they do what they do. And that's what I've learned. The Chinese people are polite. They're really polite. I've talked about that too. They're so polite, they have no intentions of following through on whatever it is that they want to do. That's why a lot of times they'll say, yeah, maybe we'll do something like that. It's kind of like when you say, oh, maybe we'll meet for lunch. I don't say, maybe we're going to meet for lunch. I will say, is there a good time that we could have lunch? Because I am direct and I am sincere. And what I've learned is the Chinese way, they don't want conflict. So to avoid the conflict, they'll say, yeah, maybe we could have lunch, you know, or something like that. But in the translation part, they don't always say maybe. We are supposed to understand that maybe is involved. Because I've been on a lot of dead ends. I've been misled. I've been misinformed. A lot of this stuff has been happening. And I can't figure out why. And a lot of it is they have no intention of doing right. to me because I'm a foreigner. And so it's that attitude that it's ingrained in them. And that part I haven't figured out. If it's been taught to them or if it's, what do you call it, in their genes. Like I say, I am still getting threats from the Chinese. You know, I'm not talking about threats like we're going to kill you, and that's not. I'm going to make a video talking about enforcement and intimidation because they do a lot of intimidation. And if you've been watching my videos, you know I'm not the intimidating kind of guy, and but they do a lot of it. And like I say, I've been getting hit by a lot of it, and that's why when I get comments from Americans, I think it's funny because a lot of times they're saying the same words, like "get out of China." When it comes from American, means you're concerned about my safety. When "get out of China" comes from a Chinaman, it's telling me other things. And and then, like I say, it's just like a lot of the comments are, they will say badass stuff because they don't have any balls, and that's the only way they can do it, is saying, well, that's the same thing with this. There's some Chinese that are saying things. They don't say it to my face, and they can act like they're badasses by giving me comments or emailing me, or I talked about the WeChat, they sending me messages. So, they can do it. I can get phone calls, so it's really, really weird. And to my face, they won't say "get out of China." They will say, it's kind of tough on you here in China. And well, yeah, it is. How do you know? I'm an adventurer. I do things that are tough. I get through the hardships, and so they find out that I'm not scared. I'm not intimidated. So it's really kind of weird. But anyway, we'll talk more about it on other things. But like I say, I've been learning so much, and this trip has changed my life. This is Mike, NoStressMike.com.